Within this video, I'm going to demonstrate the basic skills and tools needed to teach live lessons via Microsoft Teams using the meeting function. The 4 key points I'm going to cover are 1. How to schedule a live lesson or meeting. 2. How to share a PowerPoint or other document to pupils during a lesson. 3. How to use tools within Teams to interact with pupils. And 4. How to check attendance from your lesson. The first thing we need to focus on is scheduling some live lessons or meetings, and there are 2 really easy ways of doing that. The first way is via the team that you have already created. So I have a team, for example, for my S4 physics cohort. So I will click on that team if I wanted to schedule a meeting. I could go to the top right-hand side where there is a camera icon. If I click on that icon, it gives me 2 options. It asks me if I want to do the meeting just now, or if I want to schedule a meeting. And really we're interested in scheduling a meeting so that we can give them plenty of notice for the lesson. So once I click schedule a meeting, it gives me a few boxes to fill in. The first one is the title. So I'm just going to name this Period 3 S4 Physics. You may want to put in a more specific lesson title there. The second one down, it says add required attendees. Now you could put in everyone individually, but you don't actually have to if you've already got them created in a team. This might be useful, this second box, if you have someone over and above the channel that you have linked with. So for example, if someone else in the physics department has a pupil who's absent from their lesson because they couldn't get logged on for whatever reason, I could maybe ask them to join my lesson, which is the next day, and tag them in that specifically. So I might, for example, want Mrs. Wallace from physics to join that lesson, who's over and above my team. Once I've got that, I could change the date and the time. Now I've said that this is period 3, so I'll just go with that. 10:55 to 11:45. It's 50 minutes in length, that sounds about right. The next box down is the repeat button. Now I think this might get more useful if we are delivering live lessons for a longer period of time. It's not essential to do this just now, but it might just save you having to enter this every single week. If you wanted to repeat this lesson every week for a period of time, you could just select the duration that you want it to be. So if, for example, we're using live lessons until the end of the month, I might want to set this to repeat every Tuesday for period 3 until the 26th and save that. The next box down tells me what channel that's posted into. So the S4 physics cohort, great. The location, it's not really necessary. And then the description, I might want to say what the lesson will cover and what the pupils need to have to hand. I then would send that. And what that does is it posts it in the team with the details, and it also adds it to the pupils' calendars and your calendar. So my calendar, if we look at my calendar here, I've already started populating mine with just what I imagine a day would look like. But the period 3 S4 physics that we've just created is here. And it means you can go straight to your calendar and join whenever that lesson comes up. So scheduling them all ahead of time makes it a lot easier in the long run. Another way of scheduling a meeting is directly via your calendar app. So once you have selected your calendar icon at the side, which we have already done, you can add a meeting one of 2 ways. You can either click the plus new meeting at the top right hand corner, or you can click directly in the calendar between the time boxes. So if, for example, I wanted to add in one after this period 6 to be period 7, I could click in that area and fill in exactly the same form as previously. So we're just going to label it period 7. We're going to change the time to the timings of period 7. If there's any attendees over and above the team that I'm going to link, which I don't have at the moment, whether I want it to repeat or not, and if I want to add a channel. So if you click add channel, it gives you all of your teams that you're linked with. The one that I'm going to use for this one is my example team. I then might want to add in some lesson details, and then I could send. Once you click save, it will return you to your calendar and it will show you that period in the day. So my period 7 has been saved and I have an easy join button when it comes to that time. It will also send you a notification to remind you that that is coming up as well, that meeting. So just to recap, there are two main ways of adding or scheduling lessons into your calendar. You can do it directly via a team, just by clicking on the top right hand corner icon, or you can do so via the calendar, which is just clicking on an empty box and again filling in the meeting details. The next thing we're going to focus on is the lesson itself. So we're going to think about how we would share resources like PowerPoints with the pupils, how we would interact with the pupils during the lesson, and also how to check the attendance for the lesson. So if we use the period 7 meeting that we have just scheduled as an example, I would click on this and then click join. This takes you to your audio and video settings screen, which we've all used prior to joining meetings at this point. You choose the settings which are suitable for your lesson and then you would click join. So if you wanted the camera or not, or to turn off the camera, you would click this toggle here. I'm going to keep mine off at the moment. And then you would choose the relevant audio settings. So I'm going to keep mine on computer audio and then click join. Once you've entered the meeting, you have various tools that you can use to interact with the pupils. So your toolbar on the app will be at the top, just like I have on screen at the moment. If you're using the school browser version though, there is a bar that comes up mid-screen, roughly where it says waiting for others to join at the moment. It comes up just mid-screen, you just need to hover over it and it will show you all the tools. The icons and tools are exactly the same for both though. If we look at the first icon, it's show participants. So that one simply tells you who is in the meeting and whether they have their mic turned on or off. The next one along is the chat function. So this is useful because we're going to have pupils without any video and maybe less confident in talking in front of the class via the mic. It might be easier to ask them to type any questions into the chat function. So they can type a question and you can either respond just talking through your mic or you can respond via the chat itself. The next one along is the raise hand function. Now all pupils have this, and again we should probably have used this in meetings previously. When you click raise hand, it comes up as a notification for the host of the meeting. So in this case I've just raised my own hand and you can see that it's giving me a little notification there in the participants bar. When I lower my hand, the notification goes away. The three icons at the very end here before the leave button are to turn the camera on or off, to mute or turn the sound on, and then the share content. Now the share content is going to be really important for us in terms of lessons. So when I click share content, I have various windows that I can choose from. I'm going to browse my PowerPoints in my OneDrive. Now your OneDrive should be linked with your school OneDrive. So if I click on a PowerPoint, for example, so if I go into one of my Nat 5 physics ones, let's do EM spectrum, and then share. So the PowerPoint, when it comes on screen, is exactly what the pupils should be able to see in front of them. So you can talk through the lesson and click the navigate buttons forwards and back, just as you would a normal lesson. And you can have the chat bar open at the same time, just if you want to have both methods of contact. It may be worth encouraging pupils to raise their hand if they want to speak in the class or answer, or if they want to get your attention for any reason. This little eye icon here that comes up once you start sharing prevents any participants from moving through the presentation on their own. So if you want pupils to not be able to skip on their own forward and back, you can click that so that they can't. They have to look at what is on the screen at the moment. The last thing I want to show you is how to check your attendance. Now, often you would check your attendance towards the end of the meeting just to see if anyone entered late or to see how long each pupil has entered for. So I'm just going to stop presenting just now and go back to the original screen. And then I'm going to click on the participants icon again. Now within your participants section, you've got a 3 dots icon just to the right hand side. When you click on that 3 dots, it gives you a few options. The third one down is to download the attendance list. Now again, it's better to do this at the end of the meeting because it will tell you how long any attendees lasted within the lesson. So did they come in just at the start and then leave 10 minutes into it, or did they stay for the duration of the full lesson? So before you leave, click download attendance list and it will download it as an Excel file. When you're quite happy to leave the lesson, you just click the leave button at the top and it will end the lesson for all. So in summary, what we've looked at today is how to schedule a Teams meeting for a class, so either via your calendar or via your team. We have looked at the icons within a lesson or meeting, so how to share a PowerPoint, how to interact with pupils via the chat functions or the raise hand tool, and how to check the attendance within that lesson. That is all of the tools that you need in order to create a very basic lesson similar to what you would in the classroom.